Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. For this one, we're starting off in the industrial heartland of Montrose. And look, I've pulled the car in to document this. It's like an old lighthouse. It stands, there's actually a cove here where all the boats come in to Montrose Harbour, and beyond that is Montrose Basin, and that's kind of the sea estuary there. Ferry Den's at the other side. And today we basically pulled the car in here because we noticed this as we were driving around. We were at the air show in the same town here, and this is actually the same day. I don't know if anybody watched the video or no, but that's kind of the reason we're in this area. When I saw this old construction, you can kind of see it. That shows you the shipping history.
Stand there, you'll see the door.
It went on. Oh, is there a door there?
Yeah.
Let's have a look, folks. High on this. Oh, the wee door goes in at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think there is a way you can actually get round onto that road, and I think there's a path takes you to the beach, but this is kind of what I was wanting to see. This video is just going to be a few random clips, folks. Whatever we get into, it's just a kind of random adventure, throwing the camera on, having a bit of fun. And I'm not sure, probably these car parks are all full up now through the week. This is all kind of offshore companies and things next to the harbour at Montrose. And yeah, it's a historical Scottish harbour. There's actually big coastal defences at Ferry Den that back in World War II actually defended the boats and stuff coming in and out. So on this channel, folks, it's spontaneous adventures, and we've just decided to actually park the car here behind where this little lighthouse is, and we're going to head round and just go on a wee adventure around this area that we've never been to before on the channel. I think once I actually walked nearby this area with my cousin Ian. Shout out if you're watching this video. Look at this, there's loads of warnings here for people in case they fall into the water and such like. Yeah, oh, there's another little lighthouse thing there. Do you think we should go down this way and then come back up that way? So that big lighthouse behind us, folks, that we first looked at, I can actually see there's a red light coming out the top of it, and that shows stuff like that is still there as a marker. And I love to see it. I love to document things, or I love to explore areas that I've never been. Yeah, that's the grave up here for the dog Bamsey, who was a Norwegian dog. And he actually, I'm sure the Norwegians or whatever used him. They used to carry stuff. He had a barrel around his neck or whatever, I think. But we'll go and look at the sign and tell the story of Bamsey. So there's actually a statue of this dog in Montrose along by the harbour. And yeah, he was actually a Norwegian St. Bernard. Largest dog of the Allied naval forces. Faithful friend of all on board the Thord. So if anybody wants to see the history of that, they can look it up. So cool. I'll actually record this as well here. This is the sign. It's the sort of thing on my videos, you can often pause it and read the full story. Rather than me sitting and reading it all out, you can just pause it and read it at your own leisure. And I just hope it's all clear enough right there. Yeah, it is interesting. Look, there's actually pictures of the dog there as well, which is cool. But I'm sure by the end of his life he was just wandering the streets. Okay, and he just got found dead one day. Yeah, let's keep this adventure going. Look at this, there's kind of a grey sky today. And in the area of Montrose, it is the air show as well at the far side. The tide actually looks like it's maybe pushing in. It looks like the water's flowing in here. And it is actually quite high. When we first arrived at Montrose earlier on, the tide was quite far out, because Montrose Basin, when the tide's out, it's almost like a mud flat. It's just like a sandy mud flat area, and then when the tide comes in, it looks like a massive kind of like loch or whatever, or lake. See at the far side on the shore as well, I can actually see some of the old World War II buildings. Yeah, it's this wee tower thing that I could see, and I was just curious to see what it was. This is an area that we've not really put on camera before, so it's all new and it's fun to explore. You can kind of see here, it's all this industrial side of Montrose. This is where the pennies and pounds come into the town most likely. Check out, folks, we've made it along to this. It looked a bit like another lighthouse kind of device from a distance, but seems like some kind of tower with a platform. So I'm not sure if it is a warning beacon of sorts or whatever. at this, the Foreshore Protection Project. 1999, they must have actually started defending this coast with massive boulders and stuff, and that shows you the sort of stuff they had done to make it stronger and to stop the sea taking it away, but also so they could develop this site and build these incredible things. You've got to think, like, what are all these pipes doing? Oh aye, there is a red light up there, eh? Yeah, there's another light there with a lens on it, folks, so that's what that is. It kind of links with the red light on top of that other one. And see how the building in front of the lighthouse has also been painted?
Maybe the two poles in the water.
Yeah, they must be markers for the ships, eh? Look, it's a no wake zone. 5 knots is the maximum speed. Wow, and if we see any ships out here on the water, folks, I can actually, we've got the what's it called, marine tracker app on the phone. We can actually identify the boats and ships. Are we going to cut around this way and have a closer look at the lighthouse? There's actually a path takes us here, but that's maybe just on the beach. Shout out these fishermen here, folks, fishing lady. The interesting thing, you can see these rails here. It's actually like proper big girders coming out of the water, and that must be some of the old history as well in this area. It must be the last remaining part of something that was built there next to the water, maybe an old launch ramp or whatever. These areas at Montrose and Ferry Den are rich in fishing heritage and history. And look at this beautiful seascape. I was just thinking that you often get ticks in grass like this, eh? Over here behind the fishing people, you can actually see the old Skirdy lighthouse at the far end, and that's a beautiful Stevenson lighthouse which marks the land here at the entrance in to Montrose harbour. But yeah, this harbour was heavily defended in the war from the far shore, and there is a few machine gun bunkers and stuff. One of them says Gordon's on it, so I'm not sure. Must have been them that built it. That gives a clue of the history as well. But other bigger gun emplacements were actually built by the Polish army in World War II, and I have documented them as well in previous videos. Yeah, we're kind of navigating around, trying to get a closer look at this lighthouse and just explore this wee bit of land along the edge. Yeah, look at that right there, folks. There's a wee crab. I think he's dead. Look at him. Little crab out here. Oh aye, there's so many dead crabs at the high tide line. Maybe if there's been rough seas out in the North Sea, a lot of them's been washed up or washed in. Yes, look at this, folks. We've made it round onto this glorious little beach, and we're now down at the edge of this cool lighthouse. And look, there's a big electrical symbol there. It's maybe warning of cables which potentially run under here to the other side, because I can see another electrical symbol on that wall at the Ferry Den side. And look at this, there's an old bit of metal sticking out of there. Maybe an old historical wonder. Yeah, let's punch on up here, folks. The sand here is proper white and really fine. I'm trying to minimise the amount that's going into my trainers. And look, we're at the opposite side of the fence that we started this video at. What a madness. There's quite an industrial area around here. And there's all these wee sheds. That one there, Scottish Water. Probably releasing water back out into the sea in an area like this. Look, there's been a path going that way. And check out this incredible structure, folks. Yeah, it's not often we're in industrial areas. It's normally the countryside or the middle of the Highland Hills. Look at that, the door. It's actually a steel door. And it's just obviously for the industrial purpose of the light. Again, they're not actually needing a building like this apart for a light. It's mad, like the amount that had to be done just to have a light at that height in that area. And that's how it won't have windows. It's probably just for the wind getting in. So it's cool with videos like this, folks, to document buildings like that. Not only the Skirdy lighthouse out at the far corner, but also these little markers further inland. Gives you an idea how much is done and how much is built on the land. That was probably built many years ago and it still serves its purpose to this day. Whereas some other buildings get built and then their use is for a shorter period. It's like the water's actually carried away some of the coastal defence here. It's had those concrete bags put in and then it's gradually fallen away. And then there's a cool little swing on the tree branch right here, folks. So it doesn't look like the strongest tree branch, like. Yeah, that's been on there for so long. The rope's literally dug in. We're doing it, folks. I'm swinging on the branch. Oh look, we're right around at the side of the boats. This is the kind of adventure we promise you on the channel, folks. We're just going left and right through the land, and it looks like, for what I'm seeing, the water's going right underneath my feet. But also, we're away to get a decent look at these boats. Once the tide rises a slight bit more, we'll not be able to get around here too easily. Yeah, I wonder if stuff's been chucked in here, like, wonder what that's been, eh? And look, all that has actually fallen away and been washed away. The coastal erosion is real. Yeah, a lot of this stuff will have been dumped just to secure some of this. Yeah, that looks like a Royal Navy vessel with the nearer one there. Yeah, that's more of a leisure one, that, you know. See the grey coloured one? Wow, what a scene. Look how the leaves are now coming off the trees as well, folks. We're really getting past the stage of the heart of summer. Things is changing. Starting to become more autumny. The temperatures are still really mild today though, and what a place. That's a funny big concrete bit there. It's unusual they would put that just in that one area. Look at this, we've got another marker here as well in the water. And then that's the type of seabirds flying that go down in and they catch the fish and then they come flying back out. Look, there's an aeroplane coming over. That'll be coming from the air show. It's all going on in these lands. Look how this stone here as well has been splat. There's been a hole drilled down in it and then boom, they've cracked it. Sometimes they used to even put a wee bit of gunpowder into stones like that to pop them. Look at that, right above our heads. Look at that for a scene here, folks. Looking out over such a beautiful waterscape. That's the way to describe it. Looking out towards the North Sea. The river South Esk actually flows into the other end of the Montrose Basin, but I think once it gets to this side of the Montrose Basin, it's just kind of the Montrose estuary. There's little aeroplanes just flying above us the whole time, and I can actually see, look, there's a boat coming in. Look at this, we've got this rare display of rose hips here, folks. Wow, I'm sure, did we know you used to pop them? You put them down somebody's neck and then pop it and it gets itchy. Whoa, did we come through this way? No. Oh, this is the first time, folks. We're literally, whoa, there's bumblebees and stuff flying around in the plants. We're away to come up these steps that we noticed. It's the realest of nature on this channel, folks, and who would have thought it when we're so close to the industrial heartlands here of Montrose. And these buildings will have had purposes for hundreds of years. That's why it's cool having wee historical videos just in random areas. Maybe it was actually buildings at this side as well. That wall looks like it's had a few lives. Oh, I see, that must be like an electrical substation. Yeah, that's been a door. There's still hinges on the wall as well. And then there's more modern buildings at this side. See, because of the coastal weather and winds and rains, you can see the top of the doors and stuff is super corroded. And that happens really quick because of the salt water. That's why you should never buy like a car or a vehicle often from the coast, because it can be super corroded. And look, even this road sign here, look at the nick of it. This is a great example of the coastal corrosion, folks. You wouldn't even want to lean against that too hard. It's already toppled down. Yeah, what a scene, folks. We've gone for the maddest Highland hill round to a road like this. Most commonly, it's probably just the folk that work in an area like this that normally see it, eh? I wonder what even goes on in these buildings on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, we've done a wee circuit here, folks. We've looked at some of the industrial side of it. We've documented this old lighthouse, kind of inland lighthouse, as you could say. And yeah, we're going to end it here. It's been a short one, but it's been a fun little walkabout. We've seen a little corner of Scotland that I had never put on video before, and that's what these wee adventures are about sometimes. So goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander, and we'll catch you soon with the next one, wherever we end up going.